Hi guys, I'm Drake York. Welcome to this edition of Dirt Talk with Drake York, and I'm here with the Flying Hawaiian Shane Scott. It's good to have you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
As you can see, he's a mass collector of winged sprint cars. Today's show will be presented by Tommy Herseth Vintage Race Cars, Kevin Shera Designs, Shad Trucking, and Kimball Midwest. So, yeah, like I said, this is awesome. Well, I know you've won tons of championships. How many championships have you won in which divisions?
I won the first one in the modified division at Silver Dollar, and then I run 6 more at Silver Dollar after that in the sprint cars.
How were you introduced to the sport of racing?
Well, my dad raced when I was little, so I would go to the old jalopy races with him and watch him, and then a couple of guys that worked for him raced in the mid-'60s. So, and we lived right across the street from Silver Dollar Speedway, which is where my dad still lives. So I could walk across the street to the races, and I would go every Friday night. And I was just, I just loved the races because it was exciting, and we knew some people that were actually racing, and just went every week.
Well, kind of like another guy we had on one of our previous shows, Lowell Morale. He used to be a motorcyclist, and you were too. Why did you not become a professional motorcyclist, and why did you switch to the car?
Well, the motorcycles, in fact, I raced with Lowell a couple of years, several years actually, and he helped me actually build some of my motorcycles. I don't know, I really don't, we just, it was more of a hobby for us. We didn't really have aspirations to go pro and even, look that far ahead. We were just having a lot of fun on a weekly basis, locally here. And, we ran some semi-pro stuff down in San Jose, but for the most part, we're just kind of, amateur, hobbyist type racers.
Well, you've driven for tons of car owners. Who is your favorite one to drive for?
I would have to say my good friend Slim Danielson owned the car for several years, and it was great because, he would just give us whatever we wanted, and no matter how bad or good I did, he was the same. He was always happy. He was just glad to go race, and it made it really easy for us.
Well, going from the car owner, from your favorite car owner, to why didn't you own a race car? Like have somebody come over, you have a car, and somebody come over and drive it.
Well, for me, it was just too expensive. I mean, when I started out, I had my own cars. Up till about 1983, but it just got way too expensive even back then. And then, later on, the cost for doing it. And then by the time I was finished racing, I didn't care to see another race car or work on one or whatever. I thought about it, the last couple of years, trying to maybe putting together a non-wing car for somebody or whatever, but just haven't really got around to doing that.
What was your worst crash ever?
Ooh. I think the worst one I did was at a NARC race in Chico in I think 86 or 1987. Actually knocked myself out, went to the hospital, did all that. So I would have to say that was the worst one for me physically. I'm sure I had some wilder ones, wilder looking ones out on the track, but that was for me the worst one.
Well, we're gonna go from the worst crash to your best win. What was your favorite win?
I would say 1985 NARC show at Chico. I chased down Brent Kading, who was almost unbeatable back in those days, and passed him and won. And just to do that was pretty awesome. We got a lot of notoriety out of that because he was unbeatable at the time.
Well, as you said, Brent Kading, great guy.
Occasionally.
I was gonna say something about my mom and Kadings, but I don't want to go out there. I was witness. I was in her tummy, so.
Oh, okay.
I stood witness.
Okay.
Who's your favorite person to race against?
Oh my gosh. See, I don't know. I don't know. I raced against a lot of good guys, and I never, they're all good because they all race clean. As far as I was concerned, we never had a bad night where somebody was always, running into you or whatever. So I don't know if I really have a person that's favorite of, of all. So I don't all of them.
What was your favorite event when you drove and now?
Um, my favorite event would have to probably be the Gold Cup, just because, it was so popular and so big, and, Sammy and Steve and all the big guys were here that actually started that whole series. So, yeah, it'd have to be the Gold Cup, I think.
Who was your biggest supporter throughout your career?
Oh, goodness. I would probably have to say my good friend Slim Danielson. He was there when my very first race in 1976, and, I met him there, and since that day, he would take me to the races, bring me home from the races. Then, eventually he was a car owner, so, he was always 100%, 110% behind everything I did.
Do you think it would be easier to win a championship back when you raced, or would it be easier to win now?
I think it's a lot tougher now, because everybody has got great equipment. Everybody's very talented. Years ago, there's a few guys that had some really good equipment, but not like today. I mean, now you have 20 cars that start the main event, and any one of them could win. So it's that competitive.
Well, you're mostly known for your success in wing sprint cars. Why did you ever try to go non-wing?
Actually, 1984 and part of 85 was non-wing stuff over Calistoga. So basically, we didn't really run any non-wing stuff unless we were over there. So, we just kind of, geared ourselves towards the wing races, because that was the majority of the races we went to. And we didn't travel out we didn't go out looking for trouble, so we just stayed close to home.
Who was your favorite driver when you were growing up and now?
Oh goodness, when I was a kid over here at Silver Dollar, I'd watch Leroy Van Connet and Hank Butcher and all those guys, and I think Leroy was one of our favorites, because he was winning all the time, and he was just the guy to beat, almost every week. And then lately, I would have to pick like Rico Abreu, just because of the way he stands on the gas. He just, he's just wide open. He's a lot of fun to watch. Kyle Larson was the same way, but recently, Rico, he's a lot of fun to watch.
You raced during the golden years of NARC. What was that like to race in a series like that at that period of time?
Well, it was a great series. The problem is, at that time we didn't know how special it was, so, and you usually don't until it's gone, or years down the road. But I never really got to meet Louis Vermeil, who was, the guy that put that together. So, yeah, I have to say I didn't realize how special it was, but now looking back, I know how special it really was.
How'd you get the nickname the Flying Hawaiian?
Well, that goes back, I was born in Hawaii, of course, and back in my modified days, even before I was even going fast, I was crashing about every other lap for whatever reason, and somebody stuck that on me, and it stuck, and, thankfully years later down the road, I lived up to it, for the most part, so at one point it started to fit, so it just stuck with me.
You said you were born in Hawaii. Did you ever get a chance to race in Hawaii?
No, they had a track, I don't know, I think in the mid '80s or something over there, but they didn't race that much, so it wasn't like a big series, and of course there's no way to get any cars over there easily, so a lot of the guys would come over here to race, in the '90s and late '80s. They would come over here to race, because they would only race occasionally over there.
We see a lot of guys now hanging up the helmet, aka also, Jason York.
Sure, yeah.
Right behind the camera.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to hang up the helmet?
Well, just there's a time where you just know it's time to go. Younger guys are coming up. It costs more money. You have kids and you have other responsibilities to think about. So you got to stop and think. Okay, cost versus benefits, and just time to go. And I was like, shoot, I think 45 years old or something, way too old to be doing that. So it was the right time.
How much has the sport changed since you stepped out of the driver's seat?
I think equipment and cost is the big thing now. And I, when I first started, cars were hand built. Guys were building stuff in their garages. And then a few years later, you just go to the grocery store or the sprint car store and buy parts and put them on and build them. So that's where it really started getting expensive. Because you're buying all the parts as opposed to making them.
What are your hobbies after racing? I see you like this kind of giant collection of wings.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we collect racing memorabilia. I've got an old 1960s modified, in the shop next door that I'm gonna restore and just for show. And then, I still go to the races pretty much every week. So I'm a professional spectator, which is great because it's a lot cheaper. And so, racing is still my hobby. So, my golf cart business. So, yeah. So I got a couple different things going on.
Well, you have kids, the great joys of the adults. Hopefully I won't have to do that, please. Why aren't your kids in the driver's seat?
My oldest son, he didn't care to do it. My youngest son tried. He ended up taking all the stuff that was left over when I quit and kind of running it. And then when he got to the point where it needed to be rebuilt and stuff, and I told him, okay, that's on you now. And then I think he found out how hard and expensive and difficult it was, and so he just kind of phased out.
And from the kids to the grandpa, what is it like being a grandpa?
That's great. Yeah, the kids are here, and we get to send them home when they start getting fussy, and you don't have to see them till they're happy again. So it works out pretty good.
Piece of advice: do not be the grandpa on the highway.
Yeah.
My dad will literally you'll see if he's in your rearview mirror and you're the grandpa on the freeway, you'll see this gigantic explosion coming out of the back of our
little road rage.
That's his head. That's his head.
That's great.
What was your biggest accomplishment in life?
Oh my goodness. It'd have to be kids. I mean, racing was all fun and everything, but that's at the end of the trail, it wasn't the most important thing. Just having family and having kids and having them experience the races. Good memories for them.
Well, that's going to wrap up our show today. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Today's show is presented by Roberto Marquez, attorney at law, Pappenhausen Automotive, Smith Racing, and Pedersen Motorsports.